So UFC returns to pay-per-view with its latest event, UFC 275, and one of the most anticipated bouts on that particular card is the match featuring Jack Della Maddalena against Ramzan Emeev in the welterweight division. And right now, I'm joined by none other than Jack Della Maddalena himself. Jack, how are you? How are you doing right now?
Good, thanks, Shane. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being with us.
Pleasure.
Yeah, so I think obviously let's just start off with a simpler question here. What's your mind space like going into your second, pay-per-view match for the UFC? How's your mind space at?
Yeah, all is well. I'm very calm, just ticking over, taking every day as it comes, enjoying my time here in Singapore, and yeah, super excited to be able to compete in front of this crowd.
Yeah, obviously Singapore is a bit of a different, location for you guys as well. How's it been settling in there? Have you been able to actually take in any of the sites, or is it just, focus on the game ahead?
At the moment, just sort of focusing on the game ahead, but it is a very nice spot. It's only a quick journey from where I'm from, 5 hours, same time zone. So the transition has been easy, and it's a very nice place.
Yeah, obviously, I think if you were having to fly out to the USA in some place, then time zones would definitely have been an issue in terms of like jet lag and then getting to that sort of time zone. Obviously, this would have been easier for you this time around.
Yeah, for sure. My last two fights were over in the US, so it was a much bigger journey to get there. But yeah, blessed to be able to come to Singapore, so close to home.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, this is quite a big fight for you. You're going to be taking on Ramzan Emeev. And obviously, what have you been doing in terms of like anything different in terms of your preparation? Or is it just more or less focusing on yourself and what you can do best?
Yeah, I like to focus mainly on myself, what I can do best. We obviously look at Ramazan, look at what his keys to victory probably are, and just try to work around those, but mainly focusing on ourselves and trying to implement our game plan.
Yeah, I asked you that because obviously, I think if you go have a quick overview at both of your styles, they're markedly different. You're more of a striker in that regard. He's someone who likes to take things long, is more based in the Dagestan wrestling style, you can say. So obviously, do you think is there anything you can do specifically to plan for that? Or are you just going to be going in with the mindset of, okay, focus on what I can do best rather than focus on what threat he poses?
Yeah, his style is definitely much of that wrestling style. So we've got to be prepared for that defensive wrestling so we are able to keep it standing and keep the strikes going. But I'm not a one-trick pony. I'm confident that I can control the fight wherever it goes. But yeah, hopefully mainly trying to keep it standing and where I can sting Emeev and damage him and stick and move.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and obviously that's something that has worked well for you in the past, because if I'm not wrong, your last two fights didn't really go much. I think round one and round two was where exactly your fights had gone. So obviously, how do you see this one panning out for you in terms of like, do you think you're going to end it quickly? If I had to ask you for a prediction.
I'm gunning in. I'm going in there to get the finish. No one in the UFC has finished Ramazan as of yet. So I'm going in there trying to get that finish, whether it's early or late. I'm prepared to go 3 rounds, but I'm going to get him out of there before that final bell goes.
Obviously, that is something you did mention, that's going to be easier said than done, because as you said, no one's really managed to get that sort of thing done before. He's someone who's really adept at, taking fights deep and then winning it. It's not the most, say, eye-catching or eye-popping style, but it's very effective.
100%. Yeah, he's definitely not the most exciting fighter. I don't believe he's a very dangerous fighter. He hasn't finished many opponents, but he's very good at grinding that fight out to go the distance. But yeah, my game plan in this fight is definitely damage him from the get-go and get that finish.
Yeah, and obviously, aside from just the fight in hand here, you're someone who does come in with a bit of hype, especially considering how big the UFC has become in Australia, and you're seen as something as, the next big thing from down under. Is that something that adds a little bit of pressure, or is it a nice feeling knowing that you're so popular in your home country and you can count on that support at all times?
Yeah, the support has been incredible. The support from my fellow Australians back home has been amazing. But I definitely don't take any more pressure than the pressure I put on myself to perform well. But yeah, the support has been incredible. And if they want me to be their next big thing, I'm happy to oblige by that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it must be nice having that much home support. So, I mean, obviously, and you're not the first one, obviously, from Australia who's actually managed to make an impact in the UFC. If I have to ask you, who is it that you looked up to at first when you started your journey into becoming an MMA fighter?
I've looked at a lot of people, but when you see someone like Robert Whitaker or Alexander Volkanovski be able to get to the top of the top, get those belts, it's very motivating, and it sets in concrete that there are no limits to how high you can get in this sport as an Australian, and where I'm from doesn't make any difference, that we can compete with the best in the world. But those two guys have been, big motivators for me, inspirations.
Absolutely. And one last thing, obviously, this is only your second UFC fight, and you're somewhere below down in the rankings. But if you get a win, obviously, big plus for you. And what fights do you think you want to be targeting in the future, besides obviously a title fight, but that's still some way off?
Yeah, in the near future, I hope to be close to getting into those, look to get those fights in those rankings, get my name into the top 15 at least, and then work my way through. But early days, but hopefully in the next fight we can get into that, crack that top 15 ranking would be incredible.
So no specific one fighter who you'd say, yeah, I'd like to take this guy on, because obviously I think the welterweight division right now is stacked, to put it politely.
Exactly. The welterweight division is pretty stacked. So I'm happy. I'll fight all of them at one point or another. Happy to get to 15 and work my way through each and every one of them.
All right. And thank you so much, Jack, for joining us. That will be the end of this interview. And thank you all for joining us and watching this video. Don't forget, if you enjoyed watching the video, like, share, subscribe. And if you're a fan in the Indian subcontinent, tune in to Sony 10-2, 7:30 a.m. Sunday morning for all that UFC action. Jack, thank you all once again, and all the best for your fight.
Shane, thank you very much. Pleasure. Talk to you soon.